ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse number 27. Prayers of Sri Brahmaji. So in the previous sloka he spoke, in the previous two slokas, that the Atma is actually neither bound nor liberated. Both are outside the Swarup of the Atma. So in the Swarup of Atma, there is neither bondage and therefore there is no liberation also. So it's all external. Just as the snake in the rope is not real, it only appears. So if one realizes that, then one knows that there was never a snake. So it's not that snake was removed, it was not there. But we talk like that. So therefore he says that these are just names only. and gives an example of also sun free from day and night. So inside the sun there is neither day nor night. So now he says that Tvam Atmanam Param Matva Paramatmanam Evacha Atma Punar Bahir Mrigya Aho Agyajan Agyata. So he is speaking in surprise. He says that you are the Paramatma, you are Bhagavan, you are supreme, you are transcendental. But people think of you also like another Atma. And then the search of Atma outside. The Atma, search for Atma means search for Brahman. Because in Advaitavad, the ultimate reality is Brahman. And then there are Jivas and there is Bhagavan. But Bhagavan is also another person with upadhis. So therefore it says Tvam Paramatmanam Paramatva means thinking that you are not Brahman, you are not supreme, your body is also like body of other living beings which is made of Maya. So they think that you are also like that. So the cow of Maya has two children. One is Ishvara, another is Jiva. So Maya Rupi Dhenur Dvau Vatsav Jiva Ishvara Evacha. So Yathecham Pibatam Tattvam Tu Advaitam Evhi. So you can drink the milk of this Maya as much as you like, but the truth is only Advaita. So neither there is Jiva nor there is Ishvara, there is only Brahman. So therefore this is what Brahma says. He says Aho Agyajana Agyata. He says this is the ignorance of the ignorant people. That they are unable to understand you. Krishna says, Mam tu Vedana Kashana, nobody knows me. Yoga Maya Samavrita, I am covered by my Yoga Maya. So Advaitavadis therefore do not understand him. And thus he is expressing a big surprise. So it is difficult to understand God, especially if he appears as a human being. If he has got some extra instruments, extra senses, some majesty, then it is easy. But Bhagavatam's whole stress is to make us understand that Swam Bhagavan is not like that. So that's why it is difficult to understand Swam Bhagavan Krishna. Because he did not have four hands, at least here in Braj. Outside he manifested four also, for the benefit of people. So therefore he says that this is the ignorance, Agyata of Agyajan. So ye tu Atmavit Manya Purushakaram Tvam Nadriyante Teva Purvokta Sthula Tushav Ghatine Tyahat. So earlier he has spoken that Shreya Sritim Bhakti Mudasyate Vibhoklishanti Ye Keval Bodhalabde Te Samasau Kleshala Eva Shishyate Yathastula Tushav Ghatinam. That those who give up bhakti, which is the path of Shreyas, and try to attain only Keval Bodha, Brahman realization, so they get into big trouble. So therefore he says that ye tu Atma with Manya, those who think that they know what is Atma and do not respect your human form. Purushakaram tvam nadriyante. So they do not have respect for you because you appear just like human. So teva purvokta. So these are the people who are beating the husk and there is no grain in it. So for them this verse is spoken. So cha api arthe, the word cha in this sloka, paramatmanam eva cha is in the sense of api, meaning that although you are Paramatma, but they even neglect you. So in that sense, Paramatmanam eva api tvam purushakaram param shuddha paramatmano anyam maya shablam atmanam matva. So although you are Paramatma, but even you who is Paramatma in this Purushakar form, in this human form, they don't think that you are Paramatma or you are the Supreme Atma, you are the personified Brahman. Atma here means Brahman because that is their concept of ultimate reality. So they think that you are also Maya Shablam, that you are also, your body is also made of Maya. So Atmanam Matva, Atma Paramatma, Bahireva Mrigya. And then they are searching for Brahman. So you who are directly present, they do not accept you. And then they search for the Brahman. So this is their ignorance. Aho tasya agya janataya agyata ati adbhuta. So just see how wonderful is the ignorance of these ignorant people. So Brahma is having the Ashcharya, the wonder. Ayam artha. So the sense is like this. Vivarta parinamadayo vadaha khalu chidbhinne maike jagati eva pravartante. So he says that this Vivartavad, Parinamvad, all this is accepted or it is propagated only in the material world, which is not conscious. Chidbhinne maike. Natu purnachiti brahmani. But this is not to be seen in the Brahman, who is the complete consciousness. Because there is no Vivartavad, there is no Maya. Because Vivartavad is due to Maya, and there is no Maya in Brahman. So there is no Vivartavad, there is no Parinamvad, none of these things is there. So tatha shabd brahma vapur dadhatiti tritiyat. So this is understood from the third canto that shabd brahma vapur dadhat. So this is in reference to Kardama Rishi who was performing austerity. So when Bhagavan was pleased with him, then he manifested himself to him. So there it is said that Tavat Prasanno Bhagavan Puskaraksha Krita Yuge Darshayamasatam Kshitta Shabdam Brahma Vapurdanat. That at that time the lotus-eyed Lord was very pleased with Kardama, and therefore he showed him his own form. And this form here is described as Shabda Brahma. And this is the manifestation of Shabda Brahma, that Brahman which Advaitvadis talk of, that is the manifestation of that form. So yattad vapu bhati vibhushanayudhair avyakta chidvyakta madharayad vibhu babhuvate neva savamano iti ashtamat. So then in the 8th canto also there is a description. This is in relationship with Kashyap and Aditi. So Aditi has performed this vrata, payovrata, to have a son. So when her vrata was complete, then Vishnu appeared in front of her, and he appeared with all his vibhushan ayudhair. Yattad vapur bhati vibhushan ayudhair. So that form which was having all this shankha, chakra, gada, four hands, and the ornaments, so Kaustubha gem, etc. So avyakta chid vyaktam adharayad vibhu. So that was the transcendental form, and then that form itself he became as Vaman Dev in front of her, because she wanted a son. So first he appeared, and then he himself became Vaman Dev. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti is citing this sloka to show that the form of Vaman Dev was not because of some Mayik Upadhi. Because in that sloka itself it is described that that form which was with ayudha, with ornaments and weapons, and which was chid, which was conscious, not material, not Mayika, that self became Vaman Dev. So that shows that his body is not Mayik. It is not because of the upadhi of Maya, but it is transcendental form. So that's what is saying, that this is the Agya Janata Agyata, that this is the ignorance of the ignorant people, that they think that the form of Bhagavan is Mayik, it is material. And then they are searching for Brahman. But actually, Brahman is just his majesty. And then such Satya Jnana Anantananda Matra Ekaras Murtaya. This is from what Brahma saw. When the children, cowherd boys, they turned into Vishnu form. So there it was said that these forms were all eternal, conscious, full of bliss. We read that verse in the previous chapter, 13th chapter. And so the Murtaya, the word is used there, Murtaya, that these murtis, these forms, they were Satya, Jnana, Ananta, Ananda. So now how can you say that these forms are material? Brahma witnessed it himself. And Govindam Satchidananda Vigraham Vrindavan Surbhuruha Talasinam. So Govinda, who is Satchidananda Vigraha, whose form is Satchidananda, is sitting under a Kalpataru tree in Vrindavan. Tasam Madhye Sakshat Brahma Gopal Puri. And the Vaikuntha or Krishna's Gopal Puri Vrindavan is called Sakshat Brahma. So it is non-material. His abode is non-material, his body is non-material, he is non-material. So many statements are there. Iti Gopal Tapni Shrutesya Purna Brahmatke Bhagavad Vapur Dhamadau api Yetu Shriti Smriti Ikshana Bhavad Andhas Tatra Tatra api Vivartam Andhaparampraya eva Pravartyanta Brashyanti. So all these statements of Shruti, like Gopal Tapni Shruti and the Smriti, the Puranas, they are very clearly stating that Bhagavan's form and his abode are transcendental. They are non-material. But these Advaitavadis, they say that Shruti Smriti Ikshana Bhavat, that they do not have the proper understanding of Shruti and Smriti, therefore they are Andha, Andhas Tatra, they are like blinded. They are blinded by Maya, so they don't see these statements or they don't understand. They can see the statements, but they don't understand the import, the meaning of these statements. And therefore they propagate this Vivartavad, that the world is not real, it is just a Vivarta. It's only an appearance. So he says, therefore they are ignorant and they fall down brashyanti. Arohya krishrena param padam tata patanti adhanadrishti yasmadangre. This is the meaning. Yanyarvindaksha vimukta maninas. They think they are vimukta manina. They are not vimukta. They are not liberated. They only think they are vimukta. So they fall down. Brashyanti. Te tu aho shabdena brahmana svashishto swachyesu madhye Vishmaya ras vishayi iti. So Brahma is lamenting for them. Therefore he is using the word aho in case of surprise and lamenting. So he says, in my whole creation, they are the most pitiable people. Swasrishto socheshu madhye Vishmaras. So he is surprised, or he is tasting the Vishma Rasa by seeing them. They are the object of Vishmaya Rasa, Adbhuta. So, aho agyajan agyata ityapi patha. So instead of agyajanata agyata, there is another reading. Agyajan agyata, the meaning is same. So now he says, Antarbhave ananta bhavantameva yetat tyajanto mrigayanti santa asantam api anti himantarena santam gunam tam kimuyanti santa. So there are a lot of santa here in this. Santa anta anti. So he says that Antarbhave ananta bhavantam eva hiyatat tyajanto mrigayanti santa. So what do the santa do? So he says Antarbhave. Antarbhava, bhava means body here. Bhava also means sansar. So loka means world, loka also means body. So it says that ananta bhavam, ananta bhava means Jiva, because he takes many births, many bodies, one after another. Punarapi janamam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jaఠraya shayanam, iya sansare khalu asare. So bhaja govindam, govindam bhaja mudhamate. So they know that the Jiva is undergoing the various types of births, and they search for Atma in the body by giving up atat. You know what is tat? What is tat? Body? So tat means Brahman. That's why you have the word tattva. Right? If you apply tva over tat, it becomes tattva. Tat actually means that. So tat is a pronoun. So everything is that. But what is in that is thatness. That is the tattva. And what is not tat is called atat. So they give up the atat, which is the body and mind, and inside this is the tat. So atat tyajanto mrigayanti santa. Giving up the atat, giving up the material, they search for the reality within this body. Antarbhave ananta bhavantameva. So tameva mrigayanti. They search only that, giving up the. So therefore there are people who are only absorbed in atat. They are called asanta. Right? And those who are not absorbed in the atat, they only want tat, they are the santa. So it says santa mrigayanti ananta bhavam. Tameva ananta bhavam antarbhave atat tyajanto mrigayanti. That is the meaning. And what do the asanta do? Asantamapi antiyahimantarena santam gunam tam kimuyanti santa. So unless you give up the snake buddhi, can you see the rope? So gunam tam kimu yanti santa. Gunam means rope. Can you see the rope? Can the santa see the rope without giving up the ahi? Asantamapi atyant. Asantamapi yanti ahimantarena. Asantam means which does not exist. That snake which does not exist but which appears nearby. So can you see the rope which is actually santam? Santam means existing. The rope which is existing, and ahi which is not existing. The snake is that which does not exist, and rope is that which is existing. But what do the ignorant people see? What do they see? They see the snake which does not exist, and they don't see the rope which exists. So this is, he says, is it possible for you to see the rope without seeing the snake? I mean, when you are seeing the snake, can you see the rope? No. So if you want to see the rope, you have to give up seeing the snake. Now this answers your question of mixing. Other day you were saying, what about mixture? Can you see both rope and snake simultaneously? Is it possible? Mixing, 50-50. So now you understand why it does not work. I said no, it doesn't work like that. So either you can have the snake which is not there, or you can have the rope which is actually there. But you see the ignorance of the ignorant people that they are trying to have which is not there. That's why Brahma says, Aho agyajanta agyata. He is surprised. He says, what a big joke. That everybody is running after the snake which is not there. Nobody is on this rope which is actually there. So this is the difference between Santa and Asanta. This is the difference between Sadhu and Asadhu. Sadhu wants rope, Asadhu wants snake. And then there are some people who think you can have both. So how ignorant are they? At least those who want only the snake, they are very clear that we are not after the rope, we only want the snake. Those who think they can get both, they are very confused people. So it is not possible. That's why Krishna says sarva dharman. He could have said dharman parityajya. Why did he apply the qualifier sarva, all? Because if you would have said dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, people say, okay, I'd give little bit. I give up little bit and I keep some. Why did it say sarva? So therefore this mixing 10% here, 20% there, does not work. Right? Just like here in the material world also, if you have a girlfriend and your girlfriend 6 days she is with you and one day she goes with another man, then would you like that? Okay, let's say 9 days with you and one day, so 10% she is with somebody, 90% she is with you. Would you like it? Yes? Anybody would like? Or other way around, the man 9 days is with the girlfriend, but one day he goes for a fling. So will the girlfriend or wife like that? You can say, well, 90%, come on, 90%, more than 50%, you get elected. Like if there is a voting, you get more than 50%, you are elected. So I'm 90% with you. See, no, they will say no, even if it is 95%, 99%, even 0.1% is not allowed. They also want full dedication, right? They say, give up everybody else, be with me only. Right? So what is strange if Krishna says this? And there you are only getting the snake. Here actually you are getting the guna. Guna means rope, at least guna also means quality, So sarva guna sampanna. So now don't ask this question of mixing. Should be very clear. Remember this example of rope and snake. Cannot have both. Cannot have a cake and eat it too, as they say in English. Right? Either you eat it or you have it. So he says in the previous sloka, he talked about those who think they are jnanis. Right? He says atmavit manya. Right? Like in the sloka vimukta manina. Yanyarvindaksha vimukta manina. So manina means that they only have the pride that we are liberated. Or atmavit manina means they only have the pride that we know. Actually they don't know. But those who actually know, now he talks about them. So he says, Vijñāstu tvam mayopadhitvena na manyante. So those who are actually learned, who are wise, they don't say that you have maya upadhi, means your form is made of maya. They don't say that. Kintu jivatmanam eva. It is only the living beings who have material bodies, not Ishvara. They consider both Jiva and Ishvara having material form. But those who are learned, they say only the Jivas have material form, not Ishvara. Atas swameva maya malinyato vichyuti kartum tameva kevalam suddham mrigyanti. So therefore they want to search that reality by becoming free from the impurity of Maya. Maya malinyato vichyuti kartum tameva kevalam suddham mrigyanti tyaha antarbhave. Antarbhave swasharir madhye eva. So antarbhave means within their own body. Vartmanam Ananta Bhavam Ananta Asankhya Bhava Nana Yonishu Janmani Yasya Tam Prasiddham Alpajyam Jivatmanam Mrigyanti. So Ananta Bhavam is the Jiva which is inside this Bhava, this body. So they search for that. So that is what Sankhya is, to discriminate between body and self, Prakriti and Purusha. Right? The main purpose of Sankhya philosophy is to discriminate between Prakriti and Purusha, because at present it is a mixture here. Mixture is not truly mixed, but it appears like that. Otherwise Atma is not mixed with Prakriti. But now it appears as if he is mixed. So therefore he says, Kim Kurvanta, how do they search? So Atat Atma Bhinnam Mayikam Mayam cha Tajanta Apvadanta. So giving up the Maya, that is the meaning of Neti Neti. Neti Neti iti Utsasrikshavaha. So Utsasriksha means giving up. This is all material and we only want the spiritual. Nanu chinmayasya jivatmano janena alam kinchid bhinnasya apvadena iti ashankya adhyastasya apvadam vina adhishthanatvam na samyak jayate iti satam vyavharena santa. So now a doubt is raised, or a question is raised, that just having knowledge of the Jiva, that it is transcendental, it is enough. So what is the point in trying to give up that which is not Chit, the matter, the Jada, inert matter? So Kim Chit Bhinnasya Apvadena. Apvada means giving up. So what is that? What is the purpose? So he says that this idea of adhyas and apavad, these are two terms very commonly used in Advaitavad, arop and apavad, or adhyas and apavad. So arop means when one thing is superimposed onto the another one, and apavada means removing it. So he says that how will you know the rope without removing the snake, without getting rid of the snake? So unless what is adhyasta is removed, you cannot know the truth. So the body is, now we are thinking we are the body. So unless we give up that concept that I am not the body, how will you realize to realize that I am Atma? First I have to give up the idea that I am the body. So when I give up the idea that I am the body, then I understand that I am the, otherwise simply saying I am Atma and then a body is also there. So this has to be first removed or sublated or refuted. So that's why he speaks of the second line, asantam apiyanti mahiyantarena santam gunam tam kimu yanti santa. So santam gunam rajjum santah kimu yanti jananti. So do the Santa, the learned people, see the rope which is existing without getting rid of the snake? So he says, Naiv Jananti. He says, no, they don't know. Why? Tathaiva asango hi ayam purusha iti sruter जीवात्मनः स्थूल सूक्ष्म देह संबंधो नैवस्ति तिथि संबंध अभावादेव देहा दैहिका शोक मोदः तस्य नैव सन्ति. So first you have to know that Purusha, who is asanga, who is distinct, he is having absolutely no relationship, whether with the gross body or with the subtle body. There is no relationship. There is neither relationship of contact, nor relationship of inherence, nor swarup sambandha, no sambandha. Although we are saying that this is my body, but if we say, okay, this is your body, what is your relationship with the body? You have no relationship. It's only assumption. You can assume, like you are sitting here and you can say, well, that big palace belongs to me. So who can stop you? Only thing is, some people will think you are crazy because they know it does not belong to you. But actually then you can say that you are all crazy because you are all thinking, hey, this is your body, it doesn't belong to you. Right? If you start saying the White House belongs to you, so everybody will say you are crazy. Then you ask them why? He said, no, it doesn't belong to you. How do you know? You have no relationship with it. So then you are all crazy also. This body doesn't belong to you. You have no relationship with it. So that's what it says. So therefore, you do not have any relationship with this body. And if you do not have any relationship with body, subtle or gross, then whatever is happening in the body is also not related to you. Suppose you are having grief. So does the grief belong to you? If White House does not belong to you, then all the food which is in White House, does it belong to you? Or something else? No. So if this body does not belong to you, then the grief which is manifest in the body, it also does not belong to you. It belongs to body. But you say, oh, it is I'm grieving. So he says, no, it doesn't belong to you. So therefore he says, tasya naiv santi. So all this grief, disturbance, anxiety, stress, they don't belong to you. But because you very deeply think that this body is mine, then whatever is happening in the body, you think is also mine. It's like if you think that the snake is yours, then if the snake becomes sick, then you say, oh, my snake is sick. But he is not yours. So tadapi avidyaya eva. So this is also because of avidya, ignorance. Tasmin jivatmane deho adhyastha. So this body is imposed onto the jivatma. Body is imposed onto jivatma. Then the jivatma thinks this is my body, like snake is imposed onto the rope. So tatascha kadachid udbhutena jnanena nayam atma deha iti tasya dehasya asto api apavadam vina satyam shuddham jivatmanam kim jananti. So only when you have knowledge and you understand that this atma is not body and this body is actually not mine, so that is the apavada, that it actually doesn't exist, then you can understand the pure Jiva. Otherwise not. So in the next sloka it says, Yathapi te deva padambujadvaya prasadaleshanugrihita evahi. Jananti tattvam bhagavan mahimno na chanye kopi chiram vichinvan. So how can you know this Atma then? What is the process? So he says only by the grace of your two lotus feet. Padambuj dvaya prasada lesha anugrihita eva. So one who has got the grace of your two lotus feet, only that person can understand. Jananti tattvam bhagavan mahimno. That your mahima, that Brahman, which is your mahima. Otherwise no one else. Na channe ekopi chiram. Even if that person searches for long period, he will not know that. So kincha tasya jivatmano brahma sukhanubhavastu kevale na tvad bhakti lesene pe bhavati nanyatha. So he says that this, although in the previous two slokas he was only talking about the self, Atma, he says therefore the experience of Brahman for such people is impossible because they cannot even know the Atma. Tasya jivatmano brahma sukhanubhavastu kevale na. That he cannot have the experience of Brahmananda. Only tvad bhakti lesena api bhavati nanyatha. Only by the grace of your bhakti it is possible, not otherwise. So bhakti lesha means little bit of bhakti is necessary. अथापीति यद्यपि माया मायिक समस्त अंश विच्युतः स्यात् तथा स जीवात्मा. Says even if Jivatma becomes absolutely free from Maya, that there is no lace of Maya, Mayik samastansa vichyuta, still he will not have experience of Brahman. Because experience of Brahman is not possible without bhakti. Right? Mam chaya avyabhicharene bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samtityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So brahma bhuyaya means to have experience of Brahman. That is only possible through bhakti, not otherwise. So that's what is being described here. So tadapi tab padabja prasada leshena anugrihita eva bhagavatas tav yo mahima mahim shabda vachyam brahma tasya tattvam jananti. So only when they get the grace of your lotus feet, then it is possible for them to have an experience of your mahima, your glory, called Brahman. So Brahman is called as the glory or majesty of Bhagavan, or greatness. So that's why the sloka says Bhagavan Mahimno, Mahima of Bhagavan. So Mahima, Mahim Shabda Vachyam Brahma. The word Mahima here refers to Brahman. Tasya tattvam jananti, then they can know that. Yaduktam tvayeva matsya rupena, as you have spoken in your Matsya avatar to King Satyavrat. Madiyam mahimanam cha param brahmeti shabditam. So Madiyam mahimanam cha param brahmeti shabditam. That my mahima is called by the word Parabrahma. So Parabrahma is my mahima. And Vetsi Anugrihitam me Samprashnair Vivritam Hridi. So you will know this by my grace. So here he very clearly says that Anugrihitam me Vetsi. That only because of my anugraha, my kripa, my grace, that you will know it in your heart. So we saw that process. Tathapi devate mahima gunasya. Right? that arupta, avikriyat arupata, ananya bodhyatma. So that is the meaning, that he will know it in the heart which is without any vikara, avikriyat, and there is no vikara there. So here also it says samprashnaiv vivritam hridi. You will ask me questions, I will explain, then it will manifest in your heart. So the same thing is spoken in the present verse by Brahma, that experience of Brahman happens by the grace of Bhagavan only. Means even if you can get a glimpse of Jivatma, you cannot know Brahman without grace of Bhagavan. That is the significance. So Vyakhya cha Tatratya Sri Swami Padanam. So Sridhar Swami has also explained it there. He just cites this statement. Me maya anugrihitam tubhyam prasadikritam parabrahma vetsyasi iti. So this is his commentary there, that being graced by me means when I am pleased with you, then you will know Parabrahma. Parabrahma vetsyati. Atra prasadalesho gunibhuta bhakti yogo. So what is the meaning of this prasadalesa? It's not just said that by your prasada, by your grace, but it says like by a little bit of your grace. So it says this is when a person is performing bhakti as a secondary process, means as an assisting process. Such a person is not performing bhakti as a primary process, but as a secondary, because his goal is to realize Brahman and he is taking help from bhakti for that. So that's why it is not real grace of Bhagavan. What he is trying to say is that having an experience of Brahman is not a true grace of Bhagavan. So that's why it is called prasada lesha. Means prasad less. Less means not completely abhava, but little less. Less than the real prasad. So less prasad is called prasad less. So that is, so real prasad comes when you perform pure devotion, and this is secondary grace when one is performing bhakti with a motive for Brahmagyan. So that's the meaning. So Gunibhut Bhakti Yoga. This is called Gunibhut Yoga, not Pradhanibhut Bhakti Yoga. Pradhanibhut Bhakti Yoga means when Bhakti Yoga is prime process, and Gunibhut means when Bhakti Yoga is secondary process. So Jnaninam Purva Siddho Vartana Eva. So they do this. Tena Anugrihita iti avidyayam upratayam. So by the grace of bhakti they become free from avidya. And vidya yascha uparamārambhe. So then avidya is gone, then vidya remains. Now they have to give up vidya also to see Brahman. So they have to renounce that also. Therefore Krishna says, Jnanam cha mai sanyaset. That you should also renounce jnana to me. Iti bhagavatuttar jnanam api tyaktva. So then you have to give up that jnana also. So then tata urvaritam bhaktimeva kevalam bahumanayan tameva abhyaset yogyani. So then when he has given up both vidya and avidya, then he continues to perform bhakti meva, and giving respect to that bhakti, tameva abhyasayat yogyani. One who does that, tameva prasad les rupa bhakti yoga anugrihati. Then by the grace of bhakti one will have Brahman realization. So yastu fal praptau satyam न साधनोपयोग इति मत्वा ज्ञानम भक्तिम च त्यक्त्वा केवल ब्रह्मानुभव एव उद्यते साथ स एकोपि मुख्योपि ज्ञानी सहस्र गुरुर भवनपि इत्यर्थ. On the other hand, if a person he achieves freedom from avidya and he becomes situated in vidya, and then he gives up bhakti at that time, because now he says that now I don't need. So he gives up, and then he tries to search for Brahman. So he says Keval Brahman Bhava Eva Udyata. He makes effort to have experience of Brahman. So he says then such a person Eko Api Mukhya Api, even if he is the chief of all the Jnanis, Jnana Sahasra Gurur Bhavan Api, even if he has got thousands and thousands of Jnanis as his disciples, he is not going to get experience of Brahman. Chiram Vichinvan Bahusastra Bhyasa Yoga Bhyasabhyam Api. Even if he continues to practice Jnana for a long time, yoga, he will not have an experience of Brahman. So that is the meaning of Prasada Lesha Anugrihita. So Prasada Lesha Anugrihita means that he has to continue performing bhakti even after there is a uparama or cessation of avidya. He still needs, because it is only through the grace of bhakti that he will have experience of Brahman, not otherwise. So this is the end of this purport, and if there is any questions on this. It's a little bit of technical stuff. Now it will be more simple. Last few slokas were more related with Advaitavad, so they are a little difficult. Now he will come to bhakti, things will become easier. Somebody is asking something?
Asking is that in Shastakar Shastri's edition, this Sarartha Darshani for this verse 27 and 28 is missed out. It's not included there. Will you maybe scan it and send it to me, please?
Yeah.
I have only a question about questions. So in the last, during the last classes, you have been urging us to ask real questions and distinguish. You have been urging us to ask real questions and to distinguish between doubts and questions, and be clear about what is what. Could you maybe give the definition of what is a doubt, what is a question?
It's coming. I've written one article just. When did I write? Day for yesterday. So it will come next Sunday. I made 12 categories of questions. And I've defined each one. And I also defined what is doubt and what is question. So just wait. Malti has to get it edited. You'll have it. The title is this only, Question the Question. Okay, any other question?
So this last part, was not clear in the sense that the Jnani would have performed bhakti to get the result of Jnana. So then why is he saying that after realizing, after getting Vidya, after getting knowledge, still he has to perform bhakti?
Yeah, because he has not achieved the goal yet. The goal is to have experience of Brahman. So for that you have to get rid of avidya first. And then you have to give up your vidya also. And then you will have experience of Brahman. Otherwise vidya will stay. Vidya is also maya. Vidya mamatanu. Vidya uddhav sharirina. Krishna says this. And these are my two energies. They are both energy of Maya. Okay.